and I think it was Chris Dia. His eyes got real big, and he goes, "Really?" He said, "I didn't know that. I'll have to check that out." I mean, it was like, he told me they were so busy being on the road all the time.
Yeah.
Just, never had time to listen to anything. If something was out, complimenting them or something like that, they just never heard it. They were basically a singles band and didn't have the chance to experiment like the Fleetwood Macs or the Led Zeppelin or anything like that.
Right.
And so this was quite, a compliment to Chris, when we heard that.
I just love the version that we did. I mean, it really holds up. I mean, whenever I do re-listen to that record, which, not that often, but it's still one of my favorite things. I sure don't envy him, on the road. That's one thing I do not miss is the road. The road is like, that's the part that I always, when I was younger, it was adventurous for about, for a while, 5, 6, 7 years. It was fun seeing all the different places, and then it began to be, you realize that everything was just repeating.
Well, I think what got me was like, especially in the 60s with the small towns, and that's when we were still taking those stupid buses.
Yeah.
And I could remember, oh gosh, I must have been in Oklahoma City or something, and just this had to have been like 66 when people were just beginning to have long hair, and I did at the time. And I remember being in some restaurant, and a couple of us musicians were trying to have a donut or something. And all of a sudden, there was a cluster of, at least 20 women outside this restaurant. They said, they're yelling up, "Hey, there's somebody. They're rock and roll. Let's get them." And we barely made it out of that place. We literally crawled through a bathroom window.
Really?
Yeah, we were having our hair pulled. They were ripping at our clothes.
I also used to get in certain parts of the country, you'd get is that a boy or a girl?
Yeah, Louisiana.
Yeah.
It's like, let's
get the Easy Rider.
Exactly.
I just don't miss and then the roads, the same, the hotel room thing every day. You were riding a bus, I don't know if you're staying in hotels, probably were, I don't know.
Hotels.
But, just the plane rides, and they were, the way they would book us in those days before they figured everything out. I don't know if this happened to you, but they would, we'd play Orlando, Florida or somewhere, and then Seattle, Washington the next day. They had us on planes, flying ridiculous distances. And we were in the air all day long. And then what happened, the road crew would pay off bribe the baggage handlers to put our equipment, which, meant our PA and all our big gear on the plane. So the planes were always taking off like, 10,000 pounds overweight. It was, sometimes we'd get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, get a 7 a.m. flight, then we'd have to connect with another thing, and it was just, we kept through it is by doing speed and coffee.
Exactly.
Having drinks at 9 o'clock in the morning. It was just awful.
Not to mention that half of us ended up either with ulcers or nervous breakdowns.
Yeah, or severely damaging our health, and unfortunately, some people, that progressed. That it got better, but
now you've got rid of John, you've got rid of Dave, and where did you go from there?
Well, when we canceled the Mystery of the Me tour, the manager, Fleetwood Mac's manager at the time, Clifford Davis, was really upset, And what he did basically said, well, I'm going to put a version of Fleetwood Mac on the road with or without you. And so, it was without us. So he booked he finished out the tour and just put a bunch of ringers in there. And I found out about it. And I called the promoter who was this gig in Syrian Mosque in Pittsburgh, and I called the promoter and said, well, what's this about Fleetwood Mac playing? He said, it's not you. So anyway, this whole lawsuit ensued. We had to sue the manager. And the problem was that, we wanted to do another record, but Warner Brothers said, well, we don't know who owns the name, so we had to go through this whole lawsuit for about a year and a half. And I decided that I convinced everybody the only way we were going to really get through all this, I said, we have to move to Los Angeles. That's where the record company is. So they finally all agreed. We all moved to L.A. and finally we got an injunction or a settlement judgment that said that, okay, we can go ahead and record an album. We have the rights to the name Fleetwood Mac, and we went in and did the Heroes Are Hard to Find album after like a year and a half of wrangle with this lawsuit and stuff. And I was really exhausted. So we did the record, we went out on the road and promoted it for 5 months. And, at the end of all that, it did fairly well, because Fleetwood Mac had always done a little better each album, but it didn't do as well as I had hoped. I was just completely fried.
Oh, yeah,
me and Mick Fleetwood had been mainly the ones who had been doing all the stuff with the lawyers. And also, at the time, even though things told me now, I felt I was getting older. I felt I was, I was 26 or 27, I forget how old I was, and I just felt, I was disappointed. I said, well, I didn't know where to go from there, because if that album hadn't been successful, I was successful, but it wasn't the big breakthrough.
Well, you had a song in there, I remember, called She's Changing Me, which had been on the radio a bit, but it didn't sell, and to this day I don't know why. That and Silver Hills, who knows?
They didn't release the single, the songs that released as a single on that album was a Christine song called Heroes Are Hard to Find.
Right.
And it turned, the funny thing is it turned out that Christine was Christine's song was turned out to be the first real hit single in America that Fleetwood Mac ever had, but that was the album after me, the first one with Stevie and Lindsay.
Right, and so at one point they brought those guys in. Were you still in the group when they brought those guys?
Yeah, I was going back and forth over whether or not I was going to quit, and there was one point where Nick had gone out and he told me he'd found these great singers and stuff out of the Sound City in the Valley, and I said, I had made up my mind, though. I said, well, look, I really got to take a shot now on doing my own thing. I felt I was getting older. When you're, it seems like a joke now, but when I think I was 30 or something.
Probably.
I felt like I was becoming an old man, and I was, what am I going to do, spend another 5 years with this group? Well, I either take a shot, do that, and I went back and forth of whether or not to stay and add the two people, and I finally, in the end, decided not to. I probably should have stayed, but then who knows what kind of music they would have put out. I think as it happened, I wound up having success on my own, and they got huge. So.
Oh yeah, but like I said, from there you went and did Paris. And it had its moments.
Yeah, Paris was, I just one of these people, I'm a real chameleon, and I like to try my hand at everything. And the time that we did Paris, of course, I'd known Glenn Cornick because he was married to Judy Wong, and, Jeff Littell and all that. And Hunt Sales, I'd known for years. The original drummer was Tom Mooney from Nan.
Right.
And I just wanted to do my version of Led Zeppelin, which is what that was all about. Because I wanted to be as adventurous and as experimental as I could possibly be, and be really aggressive and be crazy and do not be poppy at all.
And so how did the members of Fleetwood Mac react to your record?
They hated the terrorist stuff. Just absolutely hated it. I remember Nick and Chris saying, "Oh, Bob, how could you have such a lovely style? How could you do this yelling and screaming?" Because it's kind of like, I was pushing the envelope.
Shock therapy.
Yeah, and then really, the way my first solo album happened, it was originally, I have tape boxes say Paris 3. It was, the first Paris album was real raunchy and hard rock. The second one was pulled back a little bit from that.
Right, and that's when you had...
White and edgy. And then French Kiss was kind of like the third Paris album, except even more I finally decided that, okay, I got to have some tips here, and I got to do some, you know, I mean,